text 17. The attraction between man and woman, or male and female, always exists everywhere, making everyone always fearful. Interesting way to look at it. Interesting spin.
Okay.
Such feelings are present even amongst the controllers like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and is the cause of fear for them. What to speak of others who are attached to household life in this material world.
Okay. You know what that reminds me of, Raghunath?
Well, first explain that. The fear is coming from the fear of loss of that person.
Yeah, that's where I was going, because like there's that film, there's that famous line in that film where like it's Tom Cruise, and he's going like, "You complete me."
You complete me.
You complete me, right? We're just talking about God is complete, right? Om Purnam Adaham Purnamidam. Now, if some part of me gets separated from me, I'm incomplete and I suffer. And so therefore there's that fear, right? There's even in the love of this world, we're always worried, is my lover going to fall in love with somebody else? Are they interested in somebody else? Are they going to die? Maybe they won't come home to, ultimately when we feel we need someone to complete us, that we're incomplete.
Sure.
Then there's going to be fear, because we're within the material realm. Whatever we've become dependent on, the form of our lover, the presence of our lover to complete us, we know that sooner or later we're going to become separated. Now, this separation that Ram's feeling isn't the separation of, this is being used to contrast that, right? In the material world, the suffering that we were just hearing how Ram's suffering due to the loss of Sita, but that is separation in a spiritual, original, perfect state. And what we experience in this world with the attraction between man and woman, it causes fear, because we fear that which completes us. We don't understand our own wholeness. We feel that we need something external to ourselves to complete ourselves, and we're fearful that will disappear on us in some way.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the Bhakti Center in New York City. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It is Monday, April 28th, and this is episode number, drum roll, Miss Mara?
1587.
1587. Oh, boy. I realized last night I didn't have a computer. And I was like, oh, man, I have to go to the Bhakti Center because my daughter's having a sleepover at the Bhakti Center. And I was staying at my mom's house. And I was like, am I going to have to go to Kaustubha's house in the morning? So I just had to wait. I went to bed late because I was talking to my mom. And my mom's like a night owl. She just stays up and talks.
Yeah.
And then I had to only sleep 5 hours last night. And I tell you, I woke up with some stinking thinking, my friend.
Really?
I woke up with some stinking thinking. I was just like, I got to do this. Do people even appreciate that I'm waking up this early, not getting any sleep? And then I'm going to run to the Bhakti Center from Battery Park City.
You ran there? Like
I sort of power walked.
Okay.
I power walked. And then I've got to go through my bag because Mara packed a giant jar of honey to give to you. I was like, why am I carrying Kaustubha's honey in my bag through the streets of New York? And then, so I was mad at you, Kaustubha. I was mad at Mara for packing the honey.
That's stinking thinking, right?
I was mad at the Srimad Bhagavatam. It was just one of those days when I was not mad. And I had to do some radical state changes. And I had to say, you know what? I'm grateful for a 98-year-old grandmother. I'm grateful I get to for a mother. I'm grateful that my daughter's staying at the Bhakti Center. I'm grateful that
I can give this honey to Kaustubha.
No, I'm going to eat that honey just to punish you. Yeah, I have a lot of things to be happy about. I'm happy that I'm here. It's a beautiful day out. I'm fortunate that I get to read the Bhagavatam every day. It was so nice to go to the Brooklyn Temple last night. You know, it was great.
There you go.
Yeah. So here I am in the Bhakti Center.
All right. Want to check in with Mara, see what's going on?
Yeah, Mara, how you holding down the fort there without me?
I'm okay. It seems like you're maybe woke up lacking in enthusiasm because I wasn't
I
around.
was, you know what? And I had to turn the switch, and that's okay. I have some tools in my toolbox to turn that switch.
That's good.
I read a list of everything I'm fortunate for and grateful for. And then I just repeated them to myself. And then I start telling myself who I am every morning. Tell myself who I am.
Who are you?
Well, you want to get into it? I can go through my list for you. Okay.
All right, back to our announcements.
Yeah.
It's Wear Your Merch Monday, so please help us promote the show by wearing your Wisdom of the Sages merch. Take a picture, share it on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll share the post.
Where
And
do
we
you get
also
that merch?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com and click on merch. And we have brand new beanies and trucker hats and dad hats with the Wisdom of the Sages logo also in that store.
Maybe we got to start a softball team with those hats.
Yeah, the truckers versus the dads. We already got Joey and Vegan Trucker. They could be the captains of the team. I'll join their team too. You're more of a dad hat guy. I think.
You're a dad. I'm not.
Maybe I know, but I don't wear dad hats.
Okay.
You're the beanies. You'll be the beanies. You and Tim O'Reilly and Achuta. You guys can be the beanies.
All right, Mara. What else?
That's all I got today.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Have the couple Sweet Baby Christians that you do, are they posted on the Sage Community platform so that people could go and see them now?
That's a good question. I don't
That
have my
should be done.
computer, so I'm not the person who's able to answer that. But our computers are supposed to come back tomorrow.
Okay. We got to get on that. We got to post that on the Sage Community platform.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Nugget today, Raghunath.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Jamuna Jaya, one of our regular listeners.
Oh, yeah.
And, I went to the Brooklyn Temple last night, and there was, they're doing so many cool things there. And it's such a different world because I practically haven't been in the temple in 30 years in Brooklyn.
Really?
And I went up to the roof where we used to chant our japa, where it used to be completely desolate up there. You look out for like miles and just see, the ghettos of Brooklyn. Now it's like you're at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and there are these. It was almost like I woke up in a dream, and like there's massive, very high-end skyscrapers all around that roof, and the roof is the lowest place in that area. It was such a dreamlike experience. But I want to give a shout out to Jamuna Jaya because there was actually 3 classes going on. There's the regular temple class. One of the brahmacharis was given a class in another room, and then Jamuna Jaya gave a class to sort of like new people. And I went into that class, and I tell you, she is such a great speaker.
All right.
Just an empowered speaker and empowered devotee. So I was really inspired.
Great.
Okay. So let's get into our nugget today. Sir?
Yeah, well, so last time, like 3 shows back, because we had an interview and then we had a Q&A before that. So if we go back to last Friday, we're reading in the Bhagavatam where the Ramayana, the life of Lord Ram, is summarized in about 2 chapters. And the chapter that we're in now, we just got to this place where Ram sends Sita away after all of that long battle and everything like that, right? They return to Ayodhya. Ram is reestablished as the king. Then he goes out incognito, right, Raghunath?
Yeah, in disguise.
Went out in disguise. And he overheard someone criticizing him, basically saying that his marriage was illegitimate in a sense because Sita had run off with another man, right? Which is a really weird slant to put on it.
Horrible. Yeah.
Okay. But
horrible thing to say.
That led him hearing that led to him sending Sita away. Now we use the word banish, but you want to
hear a crazy story? I heard, I'm not sure this is true, but I heard that person who said that took birth again as the laundry man.
Oh,
that when
got
Krishna entered Mathura and Krishna slapped him and killed him.
Well, he was a washerman in the Ramayana, so that I could see
maybe that could be true.
Yeah,
I don't know
Okay.
where I heard that from, but interesting.
Interesting. You know, and the spiritual scientist Chaitanya Charan, well, I saw that he was asked about this, and he took issue with it being characterized as a banishment
Okay.
because he said it's not like he left her without any food or clothing or shelter. No, he had his brother bring her to beautiful ashram, you know, of that was overseen by Valmiki, the sage Valmiki.
Yeah.
So there's a hermitage there where
You could have looked at it as like, you know what? We're going to give you a country home.
she was lovingly cared for there. She was lovingly cared and
We're
very
going to give you
respected.
a country estate.
When she arrived, they did an arti, they worshipped her and everything. So it's, you know, it's
They had a pregnancy. They had a birth at home, a home birth.
okay.
You know, you could put that spin on it, the positive spin on it.
Right. But in any case, it wasn't like he just threw her out. He very lovingly cared for her, but he accepted living separately from her, right? And obviously she was living separately from him. And so that, you know, then we got into talking about that film, Sita Sings the Blues, wherein Nina Paley, you know, she created this animated. It's not exactly a Ramayana, but it's certainly, you know, it's her telling of the Ramayana in a sense, wherein she kind of like interweaved, you know, weaved in the story of her own divorce. It was all about the banishment of Sita, so-called banishment, and she just said, look, you know, just like what happened to Sita, that's what happened to me in my marriage, or something like that. And in doing so, you get this horrible picture of Ram. He's just, and I got this. This is from Roger Ebert, you know, film critic Roger Ebert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I quoted him in the article that I wrote about it.
Ebert, what's his thing? Ebert and something?
Siskel or something?
Ebert and
Siskel?
yeah, wow. They commented on.
So yeah, they commented on Sita Sings the Blues. And
Okay.
this is what I wrote in my review of Sita Sings the Blues. I said, in his review of Sita Sings the Blues, film critic Roger Ebert, who admittedly knows nothing of the Ramayana, writes, it tells the story of a brave, noble woman who was made to suffer because of the perfidy. What is perfidy? Whim, I suppose, something like that.
Mary, you went to private school.
Perfidy?
She still doesn't know. She still has to use the phone.
All right. Perfidy. I can get this quick. Let's see. Because of the perfidy, deceitfulness, and untrustworthiness.
Huh.
So it tells the story of a brave woman, a brave, noble woman who was made to suffer because of the perfidy of a spineless husband.
Oh,
It is about a prince named Ram who treated Sita shamefully, although she loved him and was faithful to him. So that's what you get when you know, that's like you missed the whole point of the Ramayana, you know, like
it's just hearing like partial story. The whole book
and it's
is
slanted.
his love to find her.
Yeah. Yeah. And his
going
how
through,
noble
walking
he
through
is.
jungles and forests and
His courage, his you know, how virtuous he is, all of that, you know, you don't get any of that in her telling of it. And so, you know, she wrote that there's no way to tell, like, why did he leave her? And there's no way to tell why my husband left me. And that's just the way life is, you know. And my point was that, no, there is a way to understand the Ramayana, that there's a very deep meaning to this.
there probably is a way to understand why her husband
probably
left
a way-
her as well.
There's probably a way to understand that too.
It might be even easier to figure out.
I don't want to get into that. But and in my review, I linked to an article that was also on that blog that I had, which I don't think you can find this online anymore, but I got it here. And this was an article that I basically took an excerpt from a talk that Raghunath Swami gave, or maybe he was asked the question, you know, in a talk that he gave. And I opened it up with this quote, which is from a poet named Nanda Das, a Vrindavan poet, you know, a Braja poet named Nanda Das. I think he may have been one of the Astachap. You know about the Astachap?
The Astachap?
Astachap. It's like these 8 poets from the Vallabha Sampradaya, from that lineage that...
No, I don't know about them.
Astachap. He writes, there is more love in separation than in union. For in union, the beloved is found only in one place, while in separation, the beloved is found everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
That.
Huh?
I get it.
Yeah, you see Krishna, you know, when you're having separation from Krishna, you're not just seeing him in front of you, you're seeing him everywhere you look. So this is, I'll probably just skip a little bit in this article, but it's not that long. But this is Raghunath Swami speaking about the quote unquote banishment of Sita. He says, but this is important because this idea of what is this separation, you know, when you get into this esoteric side of bhakti, particularly this Vrindavan bhakti, but of course here it is in Ram Lila, the idea that the feelings of separation, which cause so much pain in this world, they cause a pain that's full of bliss in the spiritual context. And it's something very hard for us to put together. And so therefore we turn to people like a Raghunath Swami or like the ancient sages and commentators who wrote on this to understand what's going on, right? Why is Ram sending Sita away? So Raghunath Swami says, there's a place called Chitrakoot. I've always wanted to go to Chitrakoot.
Me and Mara, it's on our list.
Yeah. And that's where Ram and Sita lived in the forest. Most of the time that they were exiled was in Chitrakoot. So there's a place called Chitrakoot, a beautiful forest on the banks of the Mandakini River. I once met a great saint there named Balaram Maharaj. He was a devotee of Rama. I happened to ask him this question: what is the justification for Ram banning Sita to the forest, right, sending her off? He told me something that was so deep and so esoteric that it cannot be fully appreciated by those who are looking at things merely at an external, superficial level. So one may or may not appreciate this answer, but it completely fulfilled my heart, he says. Okay. Interesting, yeah?
Yeah.
He says, Vipralamba means separation, and separation intensifies the experience of love. And then he goes on to describe how, like in music, there's many more songs about, you know, having a broken heart than there is about like union, you know, like so many songs about, you know. He says, why is that there's so many songs about the pain of separation? Because music is an art, and art is an expression, and the expression of love and separation is a very deep absorption. When someone is with us, we are absorbed in a certain way. But when our loved one is away, it increases our remembrance, thoughts, and absorption in that person. It is true that when one's beloved is away, one is always thinking of their beloved and searching for them. When Ram was with Sita, he was seeing her in one place. But when Ram was away from Sita and Sita was away from Ram, he would see Sita in the trees, and she would see Ram in the clouds, everywhere. When we are together, the love of our heart goes out towards the beloved. This is an interesting way to put it, right?
You know, the whole thing is interesting, especially if anyone's ever experienced heartbreak. And if you've experienced heartbreak, or if you've know someone who's experienced heartbreak, it's like their entire life falls apart and they can't function. They're like in a fetal position. They're in incessant tears. The tears don't go away for sometimes weeks or months or years. Yeah. And all they can do is that strong attachment. Now do a flip and imagine that's Krishna. Like you're almost, and then you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole damn thing comes to life.
Damn thing?
The whole damn thing. The whole beautiful story of Lord Chaitanya, that was pretty bad. The whole thing comes alive. Like this is what it must be like. That every thought, like you can't even function in this world because everything is reminding you of Krishna. It's just like, it's like we have that perverse reflection of reality of where is Krishna? Where's my love? Where's my Lord?
That's a great example that you use because Sri Chaitanya is Krishna who can never experience what separation from Krishna is like. Yeah. And he's seeing Radha experience it and he wants to experience. So he comes, and particularly in Jagannath Puri, he's just constantly absorbed in feelings of separation. So we can, I like the way that you brought that up, like, you know, being in that fetal position, you know, we can understand how someone gets lost in feelings of separation, how it overcomes you, how you become drowned in it. That much we can kind of understand. What we can't understand is how that feeling becomes the deepest bliss.
Right. We can see how it can be the worst thing. Yeah. But if you can understand, like, you're always thinking of that person.
And if that person is the source of all bliss.
Yeah.
Now you're more intensely.
Yeah. You're actually crying. every time you're thinking of that person, you're getting closer and closer to them, even in that separation.
And when Krishna or Rama, here it's Rama, and Rama literally means, the source of all pleasure. Then the deeper your absorption goes, even if it's in separation, the deeper your pleasure that you experience. So he writes, or he says, when we are together, the love of our heart goes out towards the beloved. In separation, that love goes deeper, deeper, and deeper into the very core of our heart, and it is intensified. On the spiritual platform, love is not determined by our physical proximity. Our connection to God or to Ram is to the degree that we are internally absorbed in thought of Ram. And when our love is intense, the Lord accepts it from within our heart. Right? It's the intensity of our love that touches Krishna's heart. That love may be intense when the Lord stands before us, but it is even more intense when the Lord is not standing before us, when there is that longing, that deep, deep absorption. Then the Lord is embracing us and reciprocating with us from within. So we read from the Vedas, Puranas, and Bhagavatam that this love in separation is very special and deep, and it is a direct personal relationship with God. If you have read Srimad Bhagavatam, the gopis, they're considered the highest devotees in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and their love for Krishna was so deep. Krishna lived with them for about how many years, Raghu? Hot seat. He says here about 12 years. And then he left and went to another place. The gopis were in deep separation as Krishna was living in Dwarka, and they couldn't see him for a long time. Krishna revealed his heart and said that the reason I am separate from them is because their love and separation for me is so intense, so internalized, that their love and my reciprocation with that love in their hearts cannot be any more. If I were to stand before them, it would only interrupt the intensity of that love that we are having within the hearts of each other. And then, interesting, right? He's saying, in other words, if Ram got back together with Sita externally, it would actually be their connection would actually lessen, right? Their connection actually increased through their physical separation. So he goes on, and maybe I'll share just a little bit more from this. It's a beautiful article. He says, so this is God. God is never separate. Sita and Ram could never be separate in essence. In their Leela in this world, they lived together and enjoyed love and union. But Ram wanted to experience for himself as well as have Sita experience that even deeper, intensified experience of love and separation. In their hearts of hearts, they could never be separated. So therefore, Ram banished Sita, but really he was blessing her to give her a higher experience of internal union. And he also experienced that union. So the great devotees of Ram, the great yogis, they understand it in this way.
So good.
Yeah. Nice.
I remember when he explained that to us.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. And let's face it, the whole 10th canto, Krishna leaves. The gopis are losing it. It's the same thing. That play goes on again and again. And I personally feel it goes on in our own spiritual life. We get enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness. Then we have some dry spot, and we are asked by God, by the universe, to go deeper or to back off. Krishna will put a fork in the road of our spiritual life. Do you want me? Do you really want me? Go deeper or just back off? Right. And that, again, do you want Krishna or not? That question, that fork in the road, is always being asked to us. And we're always asked, to like make a choice. And to the degree that I choose Krishna, I can go through those dry spots and go to the next level, so to speak, of the video game, where I'm in a whole new place spiritually. This is Krishna's magic of luring us out of the material world, feeling that deep longing. Where is Krishna? I need Krishna back in my life. Sometimes also, I'd say, even materially speaking, we hit a rock bottom sometimes in our life. We try to enjoy the material world separately from Krishna. We hit a rock bottom, but we've already had the taste for bhakti.
Yeah.
And then we cry, oh, Krishna, what have I done? And so in one sense, still as embodied souls, we can also play this game of union and separation. And sometimes our most spiritual, significant moments in life are the times that we've been the most destitute, where we've actually turned away from Krishna, turned away from truth, turned away from God, turned away from the path, and have ended up broken by the material energy and ended up on our knees in prayer or in tears and just saying, "Oh, Krishna, what have I done? Please take me back." And that's incredibly miserably beautiful.
Bittersweet.
Miserably beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Raghu. Now
You should try it sometime.
get miserable.
No, you should try turning your back on Krishna sometime.
Well,
It gets
then,
really good,
It really
but it
works.
hurts tremendously.
Okay.
You get the material
I've
energy.
been
Just
doing it for lifetime after lifetime, Bubba.
Yeah, material energy just cracks you in the shins, brings you to your knees.
All right. Why don't we chant the mantras then?
Narayanam namaskrityandaram chaivanarottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta priyeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki, by regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Canto 9.
I don't have it open.
Chapter 11. Get it open, Raghunath. Canto 9, Chapter 11.
You better start speaking nice to me.
I speak nice to you all the time.
You just said, get it open.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to be ready for this, Bubba. Come on.
All right, what's that chapter?
Chapter 11.
Chapter 11. There we go.
And so
what text we on?
Last text we read was 16, wherein it was described that now Sita had been brought to this ashram, and now they're living in separation.
Okay.
And then it mentioned in text 16 that, then he heard that she had entered the earth, right? She
entered back where she came from. Sita was born of the earth.
And she came back, and then she went back into the earth. Then it said that although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, upon remembering the exalted qualities of Mother Sita, he could not check his grief in transcendental love. So now he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that just by saying that, it implies he's complete. He's not missing anything. He's full. Om Purnam Madaha Purnam. It's like the absolute truth is complete. Now something's missing, and it's causing him to lament like an ordinary materialistic person. No. What his lamentation is this deep spiritual experience. It's part of his fullness. He's relishing his relationship with his own energy, who is Sita, and he's relishing that in the mood of separation from her. Okay, so that brings us
text 16.
That was 16. Now we read 17.
Text 17. The attraction between man and woman, or male and female, always exists everywhere, making everyone always fearful. Interesting way to look at it. Interesting spin.
Okay.
Such feelings are present even amongst the controllers like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and is the cause of fear for them. What to speak of others who are attached to household life in this material world.
Okay. You know what that reminds me of, Raghunath?
Well, first explain that. The fear is coming from the fear of loss of that person.
Yeah, that's where I was going, because like there's that film. There's that famous line in that film where it's Tom Cruise, and he's going like, "You complete me.
You complete me.
You complete me." Right? We're just talking about God is complete, right? Om Purnam Madaham Purnamidam. Now, if some part of me gets separated from me, I'm incomplete and I suffer. And so therefore there's that fear, right? There's when even in the love of this world, we're always worried, is my lover going to fall in love with somebody else? Are they interested in somebody else? Are they going to die? Maybe they won't come home to, it ultimately when we feel we need someone to complete us, that we're incomplete,
Sure.
then there's going to be fear because we're within the material realm. Whatever we've become dependent on, the form of our lover, the presence of our lover to complete us, we know that sooner or later we're going to become separated. Now, this separation that Ram's feeling isn't the separation of, this is being used to contrast that, right? In the material world, the suffering that we're just hearing how Ram's suffering due to the loss of Sita, but that is separation in a spiritual, original, perfect state. And what we experience in this world with the attraction between man and woman, it causes fear because we fear that which completes us. We don't understand our own wholeness. We feel that we need something external to ourselves to complete ourselves, and we're fearful that will disappear on us in some way. But this commentary is very very interesting. Do you want to read it? Short, but it's powerful.
17s?
Yes.
Yeah. As explained above, when the feelings of love and transcendental bliss from spiritual world are pervertedly reflected in this material world, they are certainly a cause of bondage. As long as men feel attracted to a woman in this material world and women feel attracted to men, the bondage of repeated birth and death will continue. It's a very, what a heavy statement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as long as we're attracted to another person,
as long as we're searching for completion through something external.
I get it. It's such a heavy statement. Like, okay, I have to become unattracted to people. Yeah. If you're looking for the soulmate and not understanding that your soulmate is the super soul, your soulmate is the supreme soul.
Super soulmate.
You need a super soulmate. Yeah.
Come on. Now, of course, we qualify this by saying you can have a quote-unquote soulmate or a partner in life, but if you're looking to each other to complete each other, there's going to be fear, there's going to be suffering. But if you're looking to each other, let's move towards Krishna to complete ourselves together, right? Two souls holding hands, walking together towards Krishna. Then you have a formula that works, right?
Yeah.
Please continue.
But in the spiritual world, where there is no fear of birth and death, such feelings of separation are the cause of transcendental bliss. In the absolute reality,
this is a heavy line, the last line here.
In the absolute reality, there are varieties of feelings, of feeling, but all of them are of the same quality of transcendental bliss.
That's something that's very hard for us to wrap our heads around.
Yeah, this is what we need to. In this world, there's just like a good feeling or a bad feeling. There's joy.
Union is good. Separation is bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So here it's saying,
I'm seeing my mom get older, and it is a little heartbreaking because she's just in a situation where, anyway, I can tell even though family is around her, it's not around her like in the old days when the person was old and they lived with you.
Right.
She doesn't live with any of us. And I see her sort of lonely, and and she's super gregarious and friendly. But, she doesn't have she's so old that all her friends have died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she's always constantly having to meet new friends. And it's hard to make new friends sometimes. And it's lonely, and it's like,
and even if you make a new friend at that age, they may not be around long either.
I know, you invest in a friendship.
Yeah.
So it is sad, and it gives me a message to myself. It's like, I've got to learn to be also a little self-satisfied too. These are like satisfied while I'm healthy, to be okay being alone. There's a value in being with yourself and connecting with Krishna by yourself. Because you can become overwhelmed with feelings of loneliness in the material world, thinking if I only had a crew or a posse or friends, and sometimes almost a little bit too needy.
Yeah.
A little bit too needy. Like
We're going to learn it one way or another. And if we can voluntarily learn it, go into it ourselves.
Look at Mara sitting there knitting at home. She doesn't even need me anymore. She's like, okay, he's gone. Goodbye. Goodbye. Figured it out. You don't need you.
But this idea, just everyone, we all need to take this in the absolute reality, right? In truth, in the spiritual realm, there are varieties of feeling. It's not that it's just like one feeling. No, there's all the varieties that we see here are there, but all of them are of the same quality of transcendental bliss. So here there's opposites. There's duality. You see, we look at duality and say, oh, it's the cause of pain. And then the impersonalists, the Vedantins, they say, so then duality must be erased in order to experience spirituality or to experience eternal bliss. Whereas the Bhakti Vedantins say, no, duality, the spiritual realm has this duality in the sense that there's still you and there's still me and there's still variety of feeling and variety of experience. But the duality that's missing and the oneness that's there is the oneness of the quality of the experience, that it is all bliss. Therefore, there's a oneness, and therefore there's a lack of duality in that sense. It's not that duality in every sense is erased, right? But duality in the sense of like, I'm miserable today. I was happy today and I'm miserable the next day. No. Even if it looks like you're miserable, even if you're crying in separation, you're actually experiencing the deepest transcendental bliss.
Someone said to Prabhupada, why do you look so sad in these pictures?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, right. Prabhupada's got that
His passport photo.
Yeah. He says, I wasn't sad. I was in complete bliss.
He said that was a moment of complete bliss. Yeah.
So this is the interesting thing for the devotee, even when they're grave or thinking about life, there's a deep joy in all the choices and all the connection they have at that moment. We're working our way from going to this erratic up and down, sort of like one of those, like with a heart monitor, which is like
roller coaster.
We're going to find that medium. Then the roller coaster is less and less extreme. It goes from like a complete thrill ride of up and down to sort of like a steady, boring child's ride.
Spirituality is boring. Raghunath.
Join us. Join our boring club. We go crazy sometimes. We have bubbly water.
Now we get to see now that he's heard that Sita is gone, right? She's re-entered into the earth.
Yeah.
There's no there's no external reunion that's going to take place, right? That's for sure now. So what does Ram do for the next 13,000 years? How does he spend his time?
What does Ram do?
Text 18.
Rules the kingdom?
Well, you can read about it in text 18.
After Mother Sita entered the earth, Lord Ramachandra observed complete celibacy and performed an uninterrupted Agnihotra Yagya for 5 years, 10 years, close. 13,000 years. What?
Now this is what Jiva Goswami writes in commentary to this verse. He says, Rama's attachment to Sita through external actions is shown. In other words, people, if you go to the Vedas, they talk about performing Agnihotra Yagnas, right? These rituals wherein you light a fire and offer grain and ghee into the fire and chant mantras. There, it's most commonly being done for a materialistic purpose, right? So that auspiciousness, material auspiciousness and prosperity will come to me in my new home or in my new car or in this new marriage or in this new endeavor.
Give good fortune to me.
Yeah. Now Ram is performing the same kind of ceremony, but for him, it's a ceremony of internal spiritual love. And the bhakti yogis, when they perform these rituals, it's in that similar connection, right? So Jiva Goswami writes, Rama's attachment to Sita through external actions is shown, observing continuous urdhvam brahmacharya, right? It's not like he went out and got another. He was a king. He could have just went out and found another wife, right? It was
Yeah.
no. He's in
We'll
this.
do it all the time.
People do it all the time. He says, observing continuous brahmacharya out of despondency in her absence, this spiritual despondency, he performed sacrifices continuously for 13,000 years. So this is an external manifestation of his internal love for Sita, right? It's a meditation for him. He's experiencing a oneness with Sita, a loving, connection to her through this ritual.
Mm.
And that becomes his absorption for 13,000 years after she's gone, right? Okay, text 19. This is a beautiful verse, text 19.
After completing the sacrifice, Lord Ramachandra, whose lotus feet were sometimes pierced by thorns when he lived in Dandakaranya, placed those lotus feet in the hearts of those who always think of him. What a beautiful poetic statement.
Mm.
Then he entered his own abode, the Vaikuntha planet beyond the Brahma Jyoti, right? Beyond the spiritual light.
Yeah.
There you have it.
So here, in other words, for 13,000 years, he was absorbed in meditative rituals, thinking of Sita with this deep bliss of separation. And then he left. And then and through his leaving, he brought everyone that loves him into that feeling of separation. So it said, whose lotus feet were sometimes pierced by thorns when he lived in Dandakaranya. He took those feet and he placed them in the hearts of those who always think of him. So the feet of Ram, the feet of Krishna, like, the gopis pray this way too, right? They worry about Krishna's feet as he's running around barefoot. And those feet, the closest thing I can think of them, it's a stretch. But, like sometimes people, they look at like the paw of like a dog that they love, or like if you've ever seen like a tiger's paw.
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
Of course.
How so?
Go on. I haven't seen a tiger's paw.
You haven't. But it's like this big, it's people get really into them, like this, it's big furry thing, it's like they feel this attachment but the gopis, the attachment they have for Krishna's feet is that they're the most beautiful, soft, fragrant. They're just that you just can't get enough of them. Sometimes people like that with babies' feet, right? Little babies.
Yeah, I can see that with baby's feet.
Yeah. Oh, I just can't get enough of this.
Or baby's hands.
The baby's hands, the pudgy hands. Right?
Yeah.
So the love and the attachment that the gopis have for Krishna's feet is they're incredibly dear to them, to their hearts. And when they think that those soft feet are running around barefoot through Vrindavan, it's like, what if a thorn?
You've got very beautiful hands too, by the way.
Thank you, Raghunath.
Serious.
Do you worry about them?
I don't worry about them, but okay. I do like them.
All right.
I do like
So they worry, that in other words, that's how deep their love is, that they're thinking of Krishna's feet, and in their heart, they feel some pain in there, thinking about, I hope no harm comes to those beautiful feet that I have such love for.
Mm.
And so now it says that Ram, when he went off into the forest and he was banished to the forest, people are thinking like that, right? He's our king, and now he's going, and his feet are going to be walking around the forest. He should be here, cared for and pampered. And he took those feet and he said, okay, you love me, you think of my feet like that, now I'm going to go, and by doing that, I'm going to put those feet right in your heart like they've never been before. And the piercing of those feet with thorns, your hearts are going to be feeling the thorns of separation more acutely than ever before. So in his leaving, he not only does he return to Vaikuntha, but he drowns, those who love him in separate feelings, more acute feelings of separation, and therefore more acute feelings of absorption and bliss in doing so.
Nice. The next one. All right.
Now the next 4 verses, 20. The next 4 verses are going to speak about the special qualities of Lord Ram.
Lord Ramachandra's reputation for having killed Ravana with showers of arrows at the request of the demigods, and for having built a bridge over the ocean does not constitute the factual glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ram, whose spiritual body is always engaged in various pastimes. So that's nothing, basically, they're saying. That's what he did, building a bridge out of stones, not a big deal. Showering arrows upon this invincible demon, not a big deal. Lord Ramachandra has no equal or superior, and therefore he had no need to take help from the monkeys to gain victory over Ravana.
Yeah. So this is really important. You know, what's the verse in Bhagavad Gita? You know, Pritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstarpanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna is saying, I come yuge yuge. I come age after age. I appear as an avatar, right? I come. And he says he comes for two reasons, right? Paritranaya sadhunam.
To endorse the sadhus.
Yeah.
To annihilate the miscreants.
And to annihilate them. So, and when the commentators comment on that, they say he really comes to deliver the sadhu. He really comes for his devotees. If to annihilate the miscreants, to kill the demons,
that's no big deal.
Anyone could do that. He can empower.
He could send a volcano.
Yeah, he can send a volcano if he wants. He can do whatever. Yeah. So the real reason that he's coming is for the devotees, and this is saying, you know what, to build this bridge, to defeat Ravana. The monkeys could have done that on their own. He didn't need the help of the monkeys to do that. Why is he doing that? He's doing that to create the Leela.
So we can tell the story right now.
So we
and be wrapped in the story and think of Lord Ram and cheer for him and celebrate a festival and read it to our children, and we get inspired and the kids get inspired, and it touches our hearts, and it makes us root for good over evil, and it makes us fall in love with Ram and his mission and his service, and it makes temples of Hanuman all over the world, and regular people with normal lives sitting around chanting the Hanuman Chalice, and he's doing it for us,
right?
To give us some light in our crazy life of the material world.
We become so absorbed in it. Like, you pick up that Garga Samhita, you start reading it, you get fully absorbed in it.
Yeah,
it's so. You know what? I think we should come back to, because we're getting a little late, but there's a lot to say about this, and there's a very interesting commentary on this verse. I think we should come back to this tomorrow, and and pick up here. But there's so much being said in these verses, so much to understand, and so much to understand about who Krishna is, and understand how he says, Bhakti mama vijananti, you know, that I can only be understood through bhakti.
Great verse.
Yeah, and when we understand him, we understand how he is the full, complete manifestation of the absolute truth. And when we hear about Leela, there's a very different understanding of this term that Krishna's devotees or the bhakti yogis have as compared to the impersonalists have. And I think that'll come out in when we speak tomorrow. So why don't we hold on to this for now? Where are you going to be tomorrow? Are you going back home tonight?
I'm going to go home.
Spend a little time with your mother. A little more time with your mother.
Spend some time. I'm going to take her out to lunch.
You want to take her to my place? I'll cook her a little gnocchi.
Well, yeah, the thing is, I've got Sachi. I've got my sister. I invited Maya to come with us.
Look at you. What about me?
Can you take? Well, can you cook us all? Can you make?
Why don't you invite
right?
Kaustubha?
Yeah, what about me? I thought we were going to go bike riding.
He only
together.
eats at, he only eat, I didn't bring my bicycle.
See what happened, Raghunath?
You know what? It's just like a pain to bring a bicycle to New York. And you know what it was like to get a parking spot? I drove for an hour and realized, okay, I got to pay to park. $70. Boom.
You got to pay to drive into the Manhattan now too, right? Like to get into that zone.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. How do they find out?
I don't know. How does that work?
I don't know. Anyway, Miss Mara, besides baby's feet are nice, any takeaways today?
Besides what?
Baby's feet are nice.
That was
Henry put that on the
Baby's feet
message
are
board.
nice.
Baby's feet are nice.
The beloved is everywhere in separation.
The beloved is everywhere when you feel that separation.
Separation intensifies love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Variation on a theme.
Okay.
The intensity of our love touches Krishna's heart.
Further variations.
Okay.
Do you want Krishna or not?
What's it going to be?
Do you really want to hurt me?
Do you really want to make me cry?
Okay.
Material energy brings us to our knees.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Take you right out the shin, you said, right?
Yeah.
Cracks you right in the shins.
Cracks you right in the shin, material energy. If you're lucky, you come to your knees and you cry, Krishna.
Searching for completion through externals brings suffering.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been there, done
Learn-
that.
Learn to be self-satisfied while you're still young and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a and.
Yeah.
When you get to and,
Oh.
turn to me and we'll see.
Oh, all right.
Oh, you've got the and today? Okay.
Well, I'm just saying I have
It
one.
better be good.
It
better be better than her and. So Mary, you got to make your and.
Hers should be better than mine, so I should say mine first, and then she can say hers.
Okay. Fill your ritual with supreme internal love.
Okay.
And
you don't complete me. How's that?
Ooh, that's a pretty good one. You don't complete me.
and we need a super soulmate.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Same idea.
We hold each other's hands. You look me in the eye, and I say, "You don't complete me."
You don't complete me. You don't complete me either.
The person just starts crying. Thanks for joining us, everybody, here. What a nice day it's going to be today. What a beautiful day out it is. How fortunate are we? Huh?
We are
To be here, waking up early, thinking about Krishna, claiming that our body, well, we only put clean foods in our body. You know why? Because this body is Krishna's, and we use the body to serve.
Oh.
We serve the center instead of being the center. I've got so many wonderful people in my life. I've got a beautiful community of people around me. I only invite people who lift me higher into my life. Here's my daily affirmations, Kaustubha. I treat with great respect the people in my community.
Very good.
I've been fortunate for all the good and bad that's happened in my life.
There you go.
It's a beautiful day.
A beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day. I have so many. My past is filled with highs and lows that have all brought me to a spiritual precipice where I can move forward.
Jump off.
I'm gonna jump off my.